Have you ever noticed how the phone doesn't ring as much as it used to? Maybe your kids are busy, your friends are harder to reach, or the neighbor who used to stop by now just waves from the driveway. It can be a lonely shift, subtle, gradual, and painful. As we get older, especially past 70, things begin to change in ways no one really prepares us for. Sure, our knees might ache a little more when we get out of bed, and we might not remember names quite as fast, but what really stings is the sense that we're slowly being left out. Left out of conversations, out of plans, out of lives we were once right in the middle of. And here's the hard truth. Sometimes it's not just about them. Sometimes, without realizing it, we pick up habits that quietly push people away. This isn't about blame, it's about awareness. Because the beautiful part is, you can change it. In this video, we're going to explore 6 common behaviors that can cause people to start avoiding you after 70. These aren't dramatic or malicious things. They're often small, well-intentioned habits that build up over time. But once you know what to look for, you can shift course, reconnect, and keep the people you love close to your heart and your front porch. So grab a cup of coffee, settle into your favorite chair, and stay with me. Because what you're about to learn might just be the key to stronger, warmer, more joyful relationships. No matter how many candles were on your last birthday cake. 1. Being too negative or complaining too much. Let's be honest, life isn't always easy, and by the time you've hit 70 or beyond, you've lived through your share of tough seasons. You've weathered job losses, raised families, faced health scares, said painful goodbyes, and maybe even watched the world change faster than you ever thought possible. You've earned the right to have opinions, and yes, sometimes frustrations. But here's the thing. When every conversation becomes a list of what's wrong, people start pulling away. Not because they don't care, but because it's emotionally exhausting. Think about it this way. Would you enjoy meeting up with someone who only talks about aches and pains, politics, or how much better things were 40 years ago? Probably not. And the people around you feel the same, even if they don't say it out loud. The truth is, negativity, especially when it's constant, drains the energy out of a room. It doesn't mean your feelings aren't valid. They absolutely are. But if every phone call or family visit turns into a venting session, others may start to associate time with you as something they have to get through rather than look forward to. Here's the good news. You don't have to pretend everything is sunshine and rainbows. That wouldn't be real. But striking a better balance between venting and sharing something positive can completely shift the way people experience time with you. So next time you're tempted to start with what's wrong, pause for a second. Ask yourself, is this the kind of energy I want to bring into this moment? Maybe instead of talking about the latest ache in your back or what's wrong with the world, you could share a funny memory, a compliment, or something new you've learned. Like that new blueberry muffin recipe that turned out surprisingly great. The goal isn't to censor yourself, it's to uplift the people you care about, just like they want to uplift you. And when you bring a little light into the room, people naturally want to stay longer. 2. Giving unwanted advice. By the time you've reached your late 60s or 70s, you've gathered a lifetime's worth of wisdom. You've made your share of mistakes, learned the hard way, and figured out what really matters. Naturally, you want to help the people you love avoid the same missteps. After all, isn't that what good parents, grandparents, and friends do? But here's where it can get tricky. Offering advice, especially when it's not asked for, can feel more like judgment than help. You might see your adult children making what you think are poor financial choices, or maybe your granddaughter's parenting style feels too relaxed, or perhaps you're watching a friend neglect their health and it worries you. The instinct to step in is strong, but when advice comes unsolicited, it often lands as criticism, even if it's coming from a good place. People today, especially younger adults, value independence. They want to feel heard and trusted to make their own choices. When advice is offered without being invited, it can come across as condescending, even when that's the furthest thing from your intent. Think about how it feels when someone tells you how you should be living your life. It can sting, can't it? So what can you do instead? One simple approach: ask before advising. Instead of saying, "You really shouldn't be eating that," try, "Would you be open to hearing something that's worked for me when it comes to healthy eating?" If they say yes, great, share away. If they say no, respect that boundary and move on. This shift may seem small, but it can completely change how others respond to you. When people feel like they have a choice in the conversation, they're far more open to what you have to say. Remember, people don't avoid advice because they don't care. They avoid it because they don't want to feel judged. And when you become someone who listens first and advises only when invited, your words become a gift, not a burden. 3. Refusing to adapt to change. Let's face it, the world looks a whole lot different than it did 30 or 40 years ago. From smartphones and streaming services to electric cars and digital wallets, everything seems to move at lightning speed these days. And while it's perfectly normal to feel a little overwhelmed by all the changes, refusing to adapt altogether can quietly build walls between you and the people you care about. You may not even realize it's happening. Maybe you brush off your grandkids' interests as silly or complain every time someone tries to explain a new app or gadget. Maybe you insist that the good old days were better every chance you get. And hey, there's nothing wrong with loving the past. You lived through some incredible decades. But when every new thing is met with resistance or criticism, conversations start to feel like battles instead of bonding. Younger generations, including your kids and grandkids, are growing up in a completely different world. And whether we like it or not, technology is a big part of how they communicate, connect, and even express love. If you refuse to text, video call, or engage on social media, they might struggle to include you, not because they don't want to, but because they don't know how to bridge the gap. Now don't worry, no one's expecting you to become a tech whiz overnight or love every new trend. But even a willingness to try can go a long way. Instead of saying, "I don't get this stuff," try, "Can you show me how that works?" That one sentence opens a door, invites connection, and shows that you're still curious, still present. The truth is, adaptability isn't about keeping up with every trend. It's about staying open to the people who matter to you. When you show interest in what they love, they're far more likely to keep including you in their lives. Change is inevitable, but connection, that's something we can choose to keep if we're willing to grow just a little alongside the people we love. 4. Expecting too much from others without giving back. As we grow older, it's natural to lean a little more on the people around us. Maybe we need help with rides to the doctor, lifting heavier things around the house, or even just someone to talk to on lonely afternoons. And most of the time, the people who love you are more than happy to be there. But here's something many don't realize. When the giving starts to feel one-sided, even the strongest relationships can quietly wear down. You might not even notice it happening. Maybe you expect your kids to always call first, your grandkids to come visit more often, or your neighbor to help bring in the trash cans without being asked. And when they don't, it's easy to feel hurt, maybe even forgotten. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, are you showing appreciation for what others already do? Are you giving back in ways that still matter? Emotionally, socially, or even spiritually? The truth is, even if your physical abilities have changed, you still have so much to give. A warm smile, a thoughtful compliment, remembering someone's birthday, or just asking how they're doing can go a long way. People don't need grand gestures. They need to feel seen, appreciated, and valued. And here's something else. Gratitude is powerful. When someone picks up your groceries, helps fix something around the house, or just listens to your stories saying thank you or that meant a lot to me, can make all the difference. Those little acknowledgments are what make people feel good about showing up again next time. Relationships are like two-way streets. They thrive on mutual care. Yes, your needs matter, but so do theirs. So instead of waiting for that call or visit, try reaching out first. Send a short note, ask about their day, offer encouragement. It doesn't have to cost a dime or take a ton of energy. It just takes intention. Because when people feel appreciated, they're not just willing to help, they want to be close. And that's what keeps love alive, no matter the age. Letting the past overshadow the present. There's no question about it, The past holds some of the richest, most meaningful moments of our lives. From raising children and falling in love to building a home and working hard to provide for your family, those memories are precious. They're part of who you are, and sharing them can be a beautiful way to connect. But here's where we need to be careful. When conversations always circle back to the good old days, it can slowly create distance between you and the people in your life today. You may not even realize it. Maybe you often start stories with, "back when I was your age," or compare how things used to be better. While your memories are valid and sometimes entertaining, they can unintentionally make others feel like the present doesn't measure up. Especially for younger people, it can seem like you're dismissing their experiences or implying they're not doing life the right way. Even friends your age may begin to tune out if the same stories are repeated too often. Repetition makes conversations feel predictable, and sometimes a little stuck. Now, this doesn't mean you have to stop reminiscing, not at all. But like a well-balanced meal, conversations need variety. Mix your memories with curiosity about the here and now. Ask your grandkids what music they're listening to. Show interest in what your friends are reading or watching. Let people know you care about today, not just yesterday. And if you find yourself telling the same story for the fifth time, pause and ask yourself, is there something new I could talk about instead? The past is your foundation, but the present is where connection lives. By staying open, engaged, and curious about what's happening now, you show people that you're not just someone with a rich history, but someone who's still actively part of their world. Because at the end of the day, people want to connect with who you are now, not just who you used to be. 6. Not respecting boundaries and personal space. As we get older, it's natural to crave closeness, especially with the people we love most. We want to stay involved in their lives, feel connected, and know we still matter. But sometimes, without realizing it, the way we seek connection can accidentally cross boundaries, pushing people further away instead of drawing them closer. In today's world, people, especially younger generations, place a high value on personal space and emotional boundaries. That might look different from how things were 40 or 50 years ago, but it's very real. You might feel hurt when your calls aren't returned right away, or when someone doesn't pick up on the first ring. Maybe you stop by someone's house unannounced because you were in the neighborhood, only to find they seem rushed or distracted. Or perhaps you ask questions about their relationships, money, or choices, thinking you're showing interest. But to them, it might feel like you're prying. And it's not just about physical space. Emotional space matters too. If you regularly unload your worries, grief, or frustrations onto one person, especially without checking in to see how they're doing, it can feel overwhelming for them, even if they care deeply about you. So what can you do? Practice mindfulness and respect. If someone seems a little distant or hesitant, consider whether they might just need some breathing room. Ask before diving into personal topics. Instead of assuming someone's free to chat, try saying, "Is now a good time?" Those small shifts show consideration, and they go a long way. And when someone sets a boundary, whether it's about how often they visit, how much they share, or when they can talk, respect it without taking it personally. Boundaries aren't walls. They're bridges that allow relationships to flourish with mutual respect. At the heart of it, strong relationships grow from trust, space, and shared understanding. When people feel safe and respected around you, they naturally want to stay connected. And when you honor someone's boundaries, big or small, you're not being pushed away. You're being welcomed in on terms that feel good for everyone. Getting older doesn't mean losing your place in the world or in the hearts of the people you love, but sometimes, without meaning to, we develop habits that quietly push others away. The good news? Once you become aware of them, you have the power to shift things back in a better direction. We've talked about 6 behaviors: being too negative, giving unwanted advice, resisting change, expecting too much without giving back, living too much in the past and not respecting boundaries. These aren't character flaws. They're just habits that can creep in with time, especially when life starts to feel more uncertain or lonely. But here's what matters most. You're still here, still growing, and still capable of connection, joy, and love. Relationships at any age thrive on kindness, curiosity, gratitude, and respect. People want to be around those who make them feel uplifted, heard, and appreciated. And when you bring those qualities to your conversations, even in small ways, you naturally invite people to stay close. So take a moment to reflect. Is there one area where you might make a small change this week? Could you start a conversation with a compliment instead of a complaint? Ask before giving advice? Send a short message to someone just to say you're thinking of them? You don't need to become someone else. You just need to let the best of who you are shine a little brighter. Because no matter how many candles were on your last birthday cake, your ability to love, connect, and grow never goes out. Thank you for spending this time with me. You matter, and the people in your life are lucky to have you.